Did you know this was the first animated film to earn $500 million in the box office? Aladdin became the highest grossing film of 1992, which was huge for Disney. And did you know that this film became one of Disney's first big franchises, with television series, spin-off films, video games, and so much merchandise? Come and find out what makes this film so popular in 100 Facts About Aladdin. Aladdin is the 31st Disney feature film animation. It was released in 1992 to incredible success. The film is produced and directed by Ron Clements and John Musker. These directing duos had already had an incredible success with Disney. They had already directed The Great Mouse Detective and The Little Mermaid and were now on their third film. If you want a sneak peek into the future of this series, they would also go on to direct Hercules, Treasure Planet, Princess and the Frog and Moana. They are possibly the most influential directors in the history of Disney. Aladdin is based on the Arabic folktale of the same name from 1001 Nights. Howard Ashman was the lyricist of The Little Mermaid and The Beauty and the Beast. Howard had a huge influence on those films, as the lyrics in the music created the template for the film with the story being written around them. He believed the songs should be used to tell the story and push the story forward. Howard first pitched the idea for adapting Aladdin into a Disney musical. The screenplay went through 3 drafts before Disney Studio president Jeffrey Katzenberg agreed to the production. Unfortunately, Howard Ashman passed away during the production of Beauty and the Beast. Tim Rice, who was at this time working on the music for The Lion King with Elton John, was brought into Aladdin to finish off the lyrics for the movie. The story went through several iterations, but Jeffrey Katzenberg was not happy with the direction. This led to an event known as Black Friday.
There was a point when we screened the film in its earliest form, all up on story reels.
And nobody really cared for it.
And the whole picture collapsed. Everyone was afraid that, geez, we may not even do this. They may cancel the movie.
What occurred was what we refer to as Black Friday.
Jeffrey Katzenberg wanted the whole production to start again, as he did not believe it was working. But he did not change the release date, which meant they had to work even faster to meet the deadline.
I do remember during that period just waking up in the middle of the night in like a cold sweat and just with kind of your life passing before your eyes. And still we had the pressure. It wasn't like we could just sort of sit back and feel bad. We were suddenly in an intense situation where we had to really, really move quickly.
They were given 8 days to fix the story and have it working for Katzenberg, which led to a busy week of overtime and working weekends to get the story done.
When we got to the end of that 8 days, we pitched to Jeffrey Katzenberg that outline to him, and he said, fine, he'll go with that.
Yeah.
And from there on, we brought in Ted and Terry, the writers.
Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio were brought in to rework the story. They would go on to write The Road to El Dorado, Shrek, and their biggest success, the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. They wanted to simplify the story and remove some of the characters who were not working, most notably the mum of Aladdin.
Now, try to stay out of trouble while I'm gone.
Well, our first thing is, get rid of the mom. And I go, yeah, we've been talking about that.
Mothers, children.
We sort of became de facto executioners. Now, that goes, boom!
Rule number 1, I can't kill anybody.
They had also discussed 3 wishes versus unlimited wishes.
You know, you rub, I show. You ask, I do.
And we just decisively said 3 wishes. We said no way, can't do it any other way, and we're very forceful on that point.
That's it. 3. 1, 2, 3.
In the original folktale, the genie could grant unlimited wishes, but they decided that that would cause Aladdin to be too powerful and make life too easy. The animation on the film is beautiful, down to a few factors. Eric Goldberg was the first animator to join the project and really wanted to experiment with the art style. He got inspiration from caricaturist Al Hirschfeld.
Hi, I'm Eric Goldberg, and I was lucky enough to get the great assignment of animating the genie in Aladdin. And since I was the first animator on the project, I was the first one to try and figure out what kind of a style we should have for the characters in the film. So I turned to one of my great artist heroes, the legendary Al Hirschfeld. First drawing we have here is of Joseph Marr. One thing that this drawing demonstrates is the organic line work. One shape leads organically into another shape. Now you can see this in the genie with his microphone. You can see the line working all the way down his arm, his elbow, into his back, and down around the smoke trail.
This style emphasised the use of shapes and silhouettes. This style was used throughout the design of Aladdin. Eric Goldberg was the supervising animator for the Genie, and it was a dream role for him. One of the key parts to the Genie's success was, of course, having Robin Williams do the voice of the character. Even in the writing stages, Ron Clements and John Musker imagined the character as a comic who would shapeshift and do impersonations and desperately wanted Robin Williams for the role.
Let's blow this popsicle stand!
A doorstop would be a fabulous career.
Not bad! Good night, Alice!
Fairly early on, I think we had the idea of using Robin Williams as the Genie, and as we wrote our first version of the script, that was one of the key ideas there, was that the Genie was kind of a transforming stand-up comedian, very much like Robin Williams.
Robin Williams was a perfect choice. Up until this point, Disney never hired famous celebrities to be the voices of the characters. This was a big change, and one that would pay off tremendously. This was mainly because of Robin Williams' skill of improvisation. Williams came for voice recording sessions during breaks in the shooting of 2 other films he was starring in at the time, Hook and Toys. Unusually for an animated film, much of Williams' dialogue was ad-libbed. For some scenes, Williams was given topics and dialogue suggestions, but allowed to improvise his lines. It was estimated that Williams improvised 52 characters.
What we didn't expect was how much Robin was going to give us.
Come on, kid. See? Gotta get the snakes, eh?
Once Robin got in front of the mic, of course, all the celebrity impressions came out.
You need more power, Jim.
Don't be afraid. You had it all along.
I never did it. I am not at fault.
Robin Williams had so much range as an actor. He was excellent at the comedy, but he could also make us feel empathy for the characters.
The great thing about Robin, aside from his improv, was that he could really come up with sincere emotion, and I think it was important in this character, as with all the characters, to really get the audience invested in his plight.
To be my own master, such a thing would be greater than all the magic and all the treasures in all the world.
That's as much a part of the character as anything else. I always looked at it as a buddy comedy. Disney's first buddy comedy, between this boy and this Genie.
Al, if you want a winner, just be yourself.
And that really was the most emotional part of the story in many ways. And that was what was cool about Robin, was that he would totally invest in the emotional thing as well as the gag.
Glenn Keane was the supervising animator for Aladdin. There is a reason why all of Disney's early films are princess movies, and that is because it was always difficult to get the hero looking right. They often had to have symmetrical features. Many animators did not want the job of drawing the hero, as it was a very difficult task and limited the amount of expression you could exaggerate.
A Disney film has a wide variety of kinds of characters. There's the really broad, cartoony, comic characters, there's the big dramatic villain, and there's the beautiful heroine, and then there's often the boring hero, the Prince Charming. And nobody ever wanted to animate Prince Charming.
And I say to you, these two work the best together.
One of the challenges with Aladdin is how do you avoid falling into the stereotypical cardboard hero character? And I thought, well, it might be kind of nice if he's not as tall, strapping hero type, but let him be a little guy, have something to really fight against.
Jeffrey Katzenberg wanted to redesign the character so that it did not appear like a young boy anymore. This conflicted with the idea of Aladdin being an underdog and really having to earn what he wants in the film and overcome a strong, powerful villain like Jafar.
At a certain point, Jeffrey looked at it and said, I just don't believe that guy and Jasmine would be together.
I found the character of Jasmine kind of blows him away. I don't understand why she goes with him. I understand why he goes with her. That's easy. She's wonderful.
Glenn Keane had just finished animating the Beast in Beauty and the Beast and went straight into animating Aladdin. This was an extremely busy time for the animators. Mark Henn was the supervising animator on Jasmine. Each character was animated alone, with the animators consulting each other to make the scenes with interrelating characters. This became difficult as the lead animators were at different studios in Disney. Aladdin's animator Glenn Keane was working in the California branch of Walt Disney Feature Animation, and Jasmine's animator Mark Henn was in the Florida one at Disney MGM Studio. They had to frequently phone, fax or send designs to each other.
Jasmine was my third leading lady that I had the privilege to do for our films. Before that, I got to do Belle for Beauty and the Beast, and before that, Ariel for The Little Mermaid. But the struggle that I had was trying to find something new and fresh. I had a lot of other pictures of models and exotic looking women up, just trying to understand what it is that, you know, makes for that particular look.
Andreas Deja was the supervisor and animator of Jafar. He was in charge of the animation of the villain Gaston in the previous film. He wanted to use shapes to create an interesting villain.
So I have a bunch of samples here that show how we went about developing Jafar and his look, because you go through different stages and you try all kinds of different styles.
Tell me more about myself.
Here's a couple of Jafars, just different facial configurations. This one here is a really weird one, very extreme. This one would look too funny because you see a character like this and you would laugh right away. You wouldn't take him seriously, so you wouldn't have that fearsome quality.
Perhaps I can divine a solution to this thorny problem.
This one here just has a plain strange hat. It looks like a pumpkin, so I didn't want to do that. But there was sort of a monkey quality in this here that I liked, in his teeth and in his mouth.
I think it's time to say goodbye to Prince Abubu.
This one here had an overall good costume. I like these wide shoulders, but it seems a little complicated in the way it's put together. So when I saw this, I thought I have to combine some of the ones that I was seeing earlier. And then I started just to do some doodles, just sort of get a face, you know. I think I was listening to Jonathan's voice at that time.
My life is but to serve you, my lord.
And these were some of the first doodles I did of Jafar. And then I cleaned those up a little bit and came up with a face like this, and you keep refining.
That's better.
Then it got to really breaking the character down into main shapes. So I always do something like this, because you need to explain yourself to the other animators as well. Meaning, what are you drawing? How tall? How high? What graphic shapes are you incorporating here? So I said, well, this is our basic shape, you know, this sort of T shape, and you just go from here. And it also allows you to be very, very simple and graphic with it, which we wanted for the style of the film. And that was basically it, actually.
Ecstatic.
Randy Cartwright was the supervisor and animator for The Magic Carpet. Disney was using more and more 3D technology in its films. It had used 3D technology in the incredible ballroom scene in Beauty and the Beast. There were now discussions to create the animation of the Magic Carpet in full 3D. A few tests were created, but it was decided to do the animation in 2D. By animating in 2D during this time, there was much more control over the posing and acting choices.
So what we did was, I would actually draw the character itself on paper. The carpet doesn't really show anything. All it is the way he moves. So naturally I had him move the way I would move. This is a scene where he feels very sad and dejected. Aladdin invites him along, and he looks and does, "Me?" Then gets very excited, jumps up in the air, hooray, and flies off to join Aladdin. But what John and Ron wanted was a much more elaborate pattern on the carpet.
One of the original ideas was to have a Persian carpet design on, and then the production designer at a certain point in the film thought it might be interesting to have the texture on the carpet represent more of the storyline from Aladdin. So this is the final design of the carpet, which has the magic lamps all encircled in the center.
A large promotion campaign preceded Aladdin's debut in theatres, with the film's trailer being attached to most of Disney's VHS releases, including 101 Dalmatians in April and Beauty and the Beast in October. And numerous tie-ins and licensings being released, it grossed $19.2 million in its opening weekend, as number 2 in the box office. But something interesting happened. People kept continuing to see the movie. It took 8 weeks for the film to reach number 1 at the US box office. The film held this spot 5 times during its 22-week run. Over time, something incredible happened. Aladdin was the most successful film of 1992, beating all other contenders. This was an incredible result for the Disney company and made huge headlines. In my last video, I discussed how Beauty and the Beast broke the record to become the highest grossing animated film, making $100 million. Well, this broke that record by a lot, by grossing over $404 million worldwide. It won 2 Academy Awards, Best Original Score and Best Original Song for A Whole New World. The film spawned a spin-off television series, straight-to-video sequels, video games and endless merchandise. It was a huge success for the Disney company, but no one could ever predict the success that the next film would have, The Lion King. If this is your first time watching, let me know in the comments if you enjoyed it. I'm doing 100 facts about every Disney movie, so come check out my channel. Next week will be 100 facts about The Lion King. I'll see you there.